Why haven't you declared all the major donors who are funding your leadership campaign?
Well, at the beginning of the campaign, the Labour Party set out the rules that we should all comply with, and they briefed us on it. And they involve doing the necessary checks on any donations, and then passing it to the parliamentary authorities so they could be published. And I'm following those rules.
But that's process.
That's not process, that's
well,
the
you're
rules.
following the process, but there's a bigger principle at stake, that Labour Party members who are being asked to vote for you should know who's bankrolling your campaign.
That is why the Labour Party set up those rules.
But you won't tell us.
The Labour Party rules say, carry out the checks, which we have to carry out, and I've got a compliance team doing that. Once you're satisfied the checks are carried out and the donations are proper in order, they go to the parliamentary authorities who put them on the parliamentary website so that everybody can see them. I've been following that procedure. That is exactly the parliamentary rules.
But the other candidates in this contest have published who is bankrolling their campaign. You seem to be hiding behind this process. Why won't you simply tell us tonight who are your 5 biggest donors?
Andrew, how can you say I'm hiding behind a process when it's the Labour Party process?
Why don't you do what the other candidates do and tell? Don't Labour members have a right, as they decide whether to vote for you or not, they want to know where your money's coming from?
I've been asked that many times. I've said it's coming from trade unions, from crowdfunding, from individual donations.
Who's your biggest donor?
It's coming from those 3. One of my biggest donors was put up on the website, I think, yesterday.
Right, that's one of the lawyer.
Yeah.
That's the law. But who are your 5 biggest donors?
Well,
you haven't announced just a man. I mean, it's causing you a problem. Len McCluskey, the union leader, he said that you are having secret financiers sitting in the shadows. And you laugh, I understand that. You could solve that tonight by saying, when I leave here, everybody who's bankrolled my campaign, I will make public.
Well, of course, Andrew.
But you're not going to do that.
Andrew, please hear me out. I've got a compliance team in place who are checking that every donation is in accordance with the rules. Once they've done that, they pass it to the parliamentary authorities for them to publish it. So 2 lots have gone up. Another lot is again with the parliamentary authorities as of today. I'm following the rules so that everything can be published.
So just to be clear, who's giving you £100,000?
This line of attack on me that I'm following the rules, which the Labour Party at the beginning of the exercise said, right, how was...
Okay, who's giving you more than 100,000?
The Labour Party at the beginning of the exercise said, these are the rules as to what you've got to check.
Yeah. Who's giving you more than 100,000?
These are the rules as to publication. Nobody's giving me more than 100,000. That biggest donation went up yesterday or the day before.
And how much is that?
Was it 100,000?
100,000?
Yes.
So that's your biggest?
Yes.
All right.
The exchange highlights a clear conflict between the principle of transparency and adherence to procedure. The interviewer repeatedly stresses that Labour members deserve to know immediately who is funding the candidate, framing it as a matter of trust and accountability. In contrast, the candidate consistently relies on party rules for justification, insisting that all donations must go through compliance checks before being officially published. This repeated defense of "I'm following the process" comes across as cautious, but makes the candidate seem evasive when pressed for direct answers. When pushed on the sown 100,000 figure, the candidate finally admitted that it is the largest donation and has already been declared. However, the delay and lack of proactive openness expose a weakness. Following the rules alone is not enough. What the public wants is immediate transparency.
Well, we're going to talk to the associate political editor at The Telegraph, Tony Diver, who did the interview with Andy Burnham. Andy, I think he wants it both ways, doesn't he? A fascinating interview in The Telegraph today where he made it absolutely clear unnamed Labour MPs have approached him and said, throw your hat in the ring because we want Starmer out. And yet he's now trying to say it's not a matter for him, it's a matter for others. Is he concerned that perhaps he's ruffled too many feathers with his interview with you in The Telegraph?
Well, I think one of the interesting things about this line from Andy Burnham is he says, on the one hand, he doesn't want any factionalism in the Labour Party. Yeah. He thinks that the party's become too divided and he wants the country to come together around a Labour government. At the same time, he's the one who's being most critical of the Labour government and not denying any of these rumours about a potential leadership bid. So, MPs that I've spoken to in the party, even some who previously said that they would support him, are now saying, isn't this actually creating a bit of a distraction from Labour Party conference this weekend and creating more of a headache for number 10?
Well, it is doing that because we should be talking about how Starmer's going to unite the party, his plans for the country in the next 12 months. It's still only, Tony, isn't it, just 14 months since that landslide election victory. But instead, Starmer's going to be going to Liverpool, and all people are going to be talking about, is Andy Burnham going to run against him?
Well, yeah, I think that's right. And we know that Andy Burnham is going to make some appearances at that conference. He's probably only doing 2 or 3 events, which I think is fair to say is fewer events than he normally does at a Labour Party conference. But all the attention is going to be on him now. And he's outlined in our interview this morning in the Telegraph some ideas for what he describes as his plan to defeat reform. That's increasing council tax for bigger houses in London and the South East, potential reintroduction of the 50p rate, top rate of income tax, and a few other ideas of social housing investment, for instance. But if he is genuinely considering a run, there'll have to be plenty more policies, plenty more meat on the bones. People, I think, at that conference will be wanting to hear from him. So go on then, what is the plan? If you think Number 10's not doing a good enough job, what will you do differently?
Well, of course, Labour MP's principal concern will be that the poll ratings are tanking. It looks very unlikely at the moment that they're going to win a second seat, and so potentially hundreds of them, a second term, and so potentially hundreds of them could lose their seats. Now, there's been a poll just published actually this morning by More in Common. We can bring it to you on the screen, which shows the difference in poll rating if Andy Burnham were to lead the Labour Party, and it turns being behind reform to a small lead over reform. So MPs will be looking at that carefully and saying, well, actually, we care about the Labour government having a second term. Maybe it is worth the risk going to Andy Burnham.
Well, yes, but I think it's also worth saying that it's very easy to be popular when you're not in government. I mean, look at Keir Starmer's poll ratings before the election. He was always doing very well. Almost the second that he stepped through over the threshold of Number 10, the rating started to tank, and they're now at a historic low. So it's very easy to be the king over the water, as Andy Burnham is sometimes described. It's very easy to take pot shots from the side. Actually making the decisions when you get in, being unpopular, raising people's taxes or cutting spending on things they care about. That's the kind of thing you have to do when you're Prime Minister that Burnham hasn't had to do yet. So, I'm sure, his allies will point to that poll and say, well, things could be so much better if Starmer was replaced. Whether or not that would actually happen, I'm a bit more sceptical.
Andy Burnham is sending mixed signals. On one hand, he insists he doesn't want factionalism in Labour and wants unity. On the other, he's one of the sharpest critics of the leadership and refuses to rule out a challenge, turning the upcoming Labour conference into a sideshow about his ambitions. In his Telegraph interview, Burnham floated policies like higher council tax on large homes, restoring the fifth-type top tax rate, and investing in social housing. But if he's serious about a leadership run, MPs will expect far more detail. With Labour's poll numbers sinking, some MPs fear losing their seats and see Burnham as a possible lifeline. A new poll even shows Labour edging ahead of reform under his leadership. Yet critics warn popularity outside government is easy. Governing means tough choices Starmer has faced, but Burnham has not. And if you stayed with me this long, you know the drill. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and leave a blue heart in the comments so I know you're standing shoulder to shoulder with us. This fight matters. Don't let them drown us out. Until next time, stay strong, stay loud, and don't stop fighting.
Why haven't you declared all the major donors who are funding your leadership campaign?
Well, at the beginning of the campaign, the Labour Party set out the rules that we should all comply with, and they briefed us on it. And they involve